Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have a very exciting day today with a range of very advanced solutions that we believe will prove very useful to recover normal activity and gain new profitability in the new normal times that are coming ahead. A little brief about Eatable Adventures. Eatable Adventures is solely dedicated to the development of food companies across the globe. We are helping small and large companies address new challenges, getting together, getting to know each other, and helping the progress of this market. Today, we have 4 companies. This is possible with the collaboration of the Israeli Embassy in Spain, represented by Yad Saham, the head of the economic mission, and the Israel Sport Institute, represented by Sahar Jasdampur, Senior Business Development Manager. I will give the word to Liat to introduce the session. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Liat Shachar. I'm the head of the economic mission on behalf of the Ministry of Industry and Trade of Israel, in the Economy and Industry of Israel. And we try to bring together Israeli and Spanish collaboration in the economic and commercial aspect. And as you know, the new reality has forced us to think again about how we do business and what is of value both to the Spanish market and the Israeli market, and what would be a win-win situation in these COVID times. And we thought that a very unique challenge is within the food and food tech industry, because on the one hand, it's working twice as hard, but on the other hand, there's so many unique new issues and situations that the industry needs to face. And we looked at what we have to offer, and we have something interesting. And I think what we have here today is just a taste of things that we can bring to the market, and also, of course, to take from you guys as well. And if anybody is interested in what you see and you want to explore it more, we're always here and welcome. And of course, with collaboration with Eatable Adventures. And I want to thank Eatable Adventures for setting this up and for reaching all of you. And I want to thank the Expert Institute for reaching the Israeli companies. And I want to thank the Israeli companies for being here and showing up and giving it their best effort. And for everybody here attending and thinking that this is worthwhile, thank you very much. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And good luck to all the companies.
Good. Thank you. Sahar, you want to introduce your activity or the companies?
Sure. First of all, thank you for the opportunity. And I found our cooperation with the Edible Venture and with Liat from the economic mission is something very important and valuable. The Israeli Export Institute is a non-profit organization, and our mission is actually connecting Israeli companies and helping them to export. So these new situations that we had with the corona really give us new ways to explore that, and this seminar is one of the ways. I'm the food tech manager. I specialize in getting to know the Israeli companies in the food tech sector and connecting them to global players. And that's what we do. And today, just I would say a small bite of what Israel have to offer in the food tech industry. And I hope it will be enjoyable. And the floor is yours, Luis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that you're absolutely right. The food tech scene in Israel is super amazing with incredible companies in many multiple disciplines. So we truly expect that this is the first seminar where we can showcase a number of companies to the world and get deeper into multiple areas. So I will introduce the startups. Every startup, we have a 7-minute term to do their pitch. Feel free to post any questions into the Q&A section or the chat here in Zoom. At the end of the session, we will do a Q&A. We will collate all these questions and we will. Oh, something going on. If anybody want to do a special question, just as I was saying, put it on the chat or in the Q&A, and we will post the questions on our online properties, and we will collate any question that is not appearing in the event, and then we will address it directly to the various companies. If you want to contact any of the companies, feel free to use their email addresses or do it through info@eatable.com, and we will make the connection. And then I will introduce Danny Hacohen, Head of Business Development and Evidence Sensors, Ofer Sinjar, co-founder Kitchen Robotics, Gil Rabinovich, co-founder and CEO SRP Analytics, and Guy Elitzur, CEO of Vertical Field. Danny, you have 7 minutes.
Okay, thank you for introducing. Thank you for everyone participating and the opportunity to introduce evidence sensor. I'm holding here a sensor which collects data and provides freshness information about food that runs in the supply chain, from the supplier to the retailer to the end user. It's a small visual chip device which has a starting point, usually green, and an ending point, usually red. The matrix is very simple. We can develop, design, and produce almost any kind of sensor that will reflect the specific requirement of a category or a food category that needs to be under temperature control in so and so many days. It's called TTI, it's time temperature indicator. It's very much known in the marketplace. It's not new. The magic here, it's a patented device and technology. The magic here is around 2 rows that run together, and while marrying both of them together, you activate the sensor and let it run. Could be placed on any unit level, could be a box or a specific smaller unit level. About the company, we're 30 people. Most of them are R&D. Of course, we have marketing and sales. Our product is fully mature and in mass production. We can go to the next slide, please. As I mentioned, this is a low-cost visual device. You could see it on your bare naked eye and see the color which reflects the condition, the real condition of the specific category, the specific food you are shipping in the supply chain, or is it on the shelves in the retail, etc., etc. Especially, we know that in some cases there are blind spots in which you don't know how the box or the unit level was transferred from one place to another. What we usually know is the expiry date, and we're challenging the expiry date, in which we're saying here is a sensor that reflects the real condition that the specific food went through. Of course, at the end of the day, we may increase the shelf life of the device, we will reduce waste, especially now in the coronavirus event. We see more and more potential clients that are seeking and that are cautious about the security, the quality of the food, and therefore there's a need for such indication, freshness indication. Next slide, please. Of course, on top of the visual way that everyone can see the reflection of the change of the sensor, we have an application which you can take a picture, and the picture or the app itself will tell you exactly how many remaining days, hours will the specific food, whether it's a meat or fruit, or it could be even a frozen food, what's the remaining shelf life, the history. Of course, this is important through all the supply chain for the producer, for the retailer. It goes up to the cloud, out to, and then to the blockchain, and you can really collect all the statistics and be able to manage wisely and efficiently exactly where are these specific spots in which the transportation or the shipment was not done properly. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, I'll show you some use cases. We all know this logo. And the customer experience at McDonald's is not only the hamburger itself, it could be the buns. And we know that from our own experience. And here there's a unique example in which the procedure is that the subcontractor of McDonald's produce the buns and then they freeze it. Goes to the stores and then they defreeze it, gets defrost, and then you have exactly 48 hours to serve it. This sensor that you see on the slide right now was designed especially, customized especially for this. And the stores know exactly when to serve it, how to serve it, and make sure the freshness of the bun, which is part of the experience, customer experience, is fully initiated. I'll tell you in a minute how we produce it, but this is an example. This is a 6-pack. This is a unit of a 6-pack. It could be 12, it could be 24, and it goes on a machine with a high-speed machine and activates the sensor in a minute. It's being produced and through the whole transportation process to the stores.
One minute, Danny.
Okay, as for the pilot, it's very easy. There's a dispenser on the right side. We can send a dispenser. You can, as a customer, define exactly what kind of device or sensor you wish, how many days, what temperature. We send you this small dispenser with a technician to your site, and we can run a test or a pilot. And you can feel and touch exactly how this technology is working. Thank you.
Good. You have 30 more seconds. As a reminder, anybody that wants to make any question, feel free to do it on the Q&A or in the chat. Next, we are allowing you to see the URL and email address if you want to connect directly with evidence sensors. Quite impressive technology. And then we are moving on to kitchen robotics.
Hi, I'm Ofer from Kitchen Robotics. I would like to thank everyone for having us today. Paula, everyone for Edible Adventures, Jose, Liat, and Sahar. Basically, the kitchen, the traditional kitchen, hasn't changed for hundreds of years. The process of preparing something in either home kitchen or in a restaurant, back of house, haven't changed dramatically. It's all about first collecting the ingredients, cutting and chopping them, then mixing it, cooking it while mixing it. There's the serving or the plating phase. And eventually after the dish is being plated or served, there's always the tedious part of cleaning. Now, something is happening even before the COVID pandemic. Something has changed over the last couple of years. we have seen that there's a shift in the industry where restaurants are turning into delivery solutions, such as called delivery service providers, such as Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Grubhub, DoorDash, and others. This process that delivers more strength to the delivering operators is weakening the restaurants and creating another trend, which is called dark kitchens, where dark kitchens are basically kitchens that do not have on premises, they do not have a seated solution, they work for delivery only. We came in the midst of that shift in order to provide a robotic automated solution for delivering and delivering and preparing a various variety of dishes, all kind of dishes that can be programmable without our hardware and software. If we proceed to the next slide, I will be able to show basically this is an image of our hardware. The hardware consists basically of 4 parts. The first part we call it the feeders. You can see that there is a various amount of feeders. Each of them is holding a different ingredient, and there is a pot which traverses among the feeders and collect the various ingredients or spices or liquids. The second part is the cooking part. We use induction plates. The pot is being shifted to one of the induction plates where it's being not only cooked, but also mixed. The third stage is the serving stage, where a person has to actually retrieve the actual dish from the pot into some kind of packaging or a plate. And the fourth part is the cleaning part, where the pot is returning into the cycle, back into the system. It's being cleaned and returned back into the collecting part. The hardware is capable of preparing somewhere in between 30 to 60 dishes per hour. And basically behind the hardware, there is a full environment operating system that helps you program a variety of dishes. It's important to note that we focus on any type of dish that can be prepared in a pot. Basically, we do not support pizzas or hamburgers or sushi, but everything that can be prepared in a pot, like Asian dishes such as pad thai, Italian dishes such as pasta bolognese, a variety of steered, fried vegetables with chicken, all these kind of dishes that can be prepared in a pot are suitable for our solution. That covers mostly about 20 to 30% of the dining industry. If we continue to our last slide, we will be able to see that first of all, the most important question, our solution will be available during the beginning of Q3 2020 this year. And let's discuss a bit some of the advantages that the automated solution delivers us. So one of the most important advantages is that we basically reduce the amount of personnel needed for the same operation. It's not obviously restaurants suffer from very low operational margins. And we, first of all, come to solve that by reducing the one thing that can actually be reduced within the operation, which is the manual labor, but we provide other optimizations and benefits that derive from the actual usage of hardware, such as consistency, which is very important for many restaurateurs. We provide analytics using deep learning of the actual usage, actual waste, actual peak times. We provide cloud services that help you build and design various amount of recipes. Basically, we have mentioned restaurants, but the hardware solution is suitable for a wide variety of players within the industry, not only restaurants or restaurant chains. We are also suitable for hotels that are looking for utilizing not only their internal clients, but also the surrounding clients within their region. We are suitable for supermarkets that are, or supermarket chains that are looking for delivering fresh food in-house. We're suitable for institutions such as colleges and schools, and obviously the common solution of dark kitchens.
1 minute.
I see basically the cooking time. I'm seeing a question regarding the cooking time. Basically, the cooking time is done in the same method. So the cooking time is basically similar to manual cooking, but the main difference is that we are capable of holding multiple induction plates. So the parallelism of the solution enables us basically to utilize as many parallel dishes as we want. There are obviously some throughput limitations that limit a single unit to somewhere between 30 to 60 dishes per hour.
Thank you. We have time complete.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
I'm very sure you will get a few questions later on. Then we are moving to SRP Analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. So SRP Analytics, we are in the business of grocery. You can move to the next slide. And we are actually providing what we call a nearby retail solution. What we have identified is that the manufacturers of the world are being pushed by the large retailers because of private label, because of prices, and their revenues are eroding and the profits the same. We also noticed that when you look at the neighborhood stores, which are in, go back. When you're looking at the neighborhood stores, which you can find everywhere, you see that they have actually no real technology to run the stores, not to manage the relations with the manufacturers, not to manage the relations with the consumers, and not to manage the store itself. So what we have done is we have built a platform which actually connects those vendors, the stores, and the consumers, all on the same platform, one platform, which manages the entire business processes between the different stakeholders, and which is being driven by data that we are collecting and then transforming into insights to all the different players. So we provide the store owner the insight on what he needs to order, what goods, what products he needs to order from the manufacturer. We provide a manufacturer an insight on what the promotions that he should drive with the stores in order to sell much more than what he's actually selling. So all of those players on one platform, which provide the entire sets of processes. Let's take it a step down, and you can move to the next slide. take it a step down to better understand the actual solution. So we are providing the store owner, the store employees, a mobile application, a very simple, very intuitive, very easy to use mobile application. And using this mobile application, he can manage the entire store and the entire processes. Some examples are he can use this mobile application in order to order the goods from the manufacturers. He can gain access to the different promotion from the different vendors that he's working with. He's got lots of communication methods with both his consumers, which I'll speak in a minute, as well as the vendors that he's working with, and so on and so forth. Lots of functionality and abilities in order for him to manage the store. Maybe one last point here, as you can see on kind of the screen of the mobile presentation here, what we are providing him with is an insight, really a recommendation on the products and the quantities that he needs to order. This is some of the insights that we are providing the store using different algorithms that we have built into the platform in order to make his day easier and to really allow him to eventually create more revenues, which I'll touch in a minute. Let's move to the next slide. So this was the mobile application that we provide to the store owner. If we look at the other part of the solution, the vendor, for him, we also provide an application on which he can manage the entire set of processes that he needs to run with the store. So for example, he's managing the catalog, he's managing the promotion, he's able to communicate, he's able to deal with consumers on a direct-to-consumer solution that we are providing. And what we are actually doing is we are taking the entire sets of processes that currently a vendor has internally and actually kind of extend it to involve also his customers, the stores, and later on the consumers. If I'll mention here just a bit about what we have done in the Israeli market. So we are already working with more than 1,500 stores within the Israeli market. And we've seen really amazing results. Vendors who are working with us are actually generating higher revenues, and not only higher revenues, but double-digit higher revenues in compared to stores that are not working with us. So the same vendor on the same period of time is actually making higher revenues from stores that are using SRP compared to stores that are not using SRP. Okay, and let's move to the next one. The last part, the third part, is actually the consumer portion, because we mentioned that we want all the trio, the vendors, the stores, and the consumer all on one platform. So the consumer part, and here we've got a kind of a different approach on how consumers want to work and to order from the neighborhood stores. So most of the solutions that you can find out today are solutions that are based on a catalog ordering. And we believe that this is missing the point. When you are a consumer, you've got a shopping list, an intuitive shopping list. You say here milk, and you don't identify the specific catalog number of the milk that you want. So the solution that we are providing is actually, from the consumer point of view, a native speaking solution. So he can text the store whatever goods he wants to order, the shopping list, and the store gets it within our application, and he is then able to run the entire processes within the application in a really built up application and not a text one. We are the ones who are dealing with the data and actually transforming the text shopping list, the textual shopping list, into catalog items. So this is how we're dealing with the consumer part, and stores that are working with us are able to create higher revenues, to become more digital in using our platform. And on top of that, we are adding the layer between the vendor, the manufacturer, and the consumer. And here we create the direct to consumer, the D2C part, which allow vendors to communicate to consumers, to provide them promotions, and eventually to even sell their goods directly to the consumers.
Okay.
Let's move to the next slide.
You're finished now, Gil?
Sorry?
You're finished?
One more sentence just regarding COVID-19. So here, we all understand that the world is changing, and it has changed, and it will go more direct and more digital. And using our platform, we allow both the CPGs, the vendors, as well as the stores to become digital in a matter of days. Thank you.
Good. So I'm convinced that you will have a few questions as well. The questions are starting to appear on the Q&A, are in the chat. So feel free to post your questions. We will do the Q&A at the end. And then now we are giving the word to Vertical Field. Okay.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the time, and thank you for the opportunity to present Vertical Field to the audience. If we can go through the next slide. Vertical Field exists from 2006, and it has two segments of operation. One is horticulture, vertical horticulture, green walls, green roofs, and the second one is vertical farming. In this presentation, I'm going to focus on vertical farming. And during the years, we have been working with different types of customers and different types of opportunity and project, which I'm going to present during this presentation. If we can go to the next slide, we see part of the vertical farming market. It's a 4 billion market growing to 10 million billion market, and based on drivers of growing population, limited resources of land and water, and the awareness and desire of population for better, healthier, and safer food. And that was bring basically the drivers to this type of market. During the last years, there was a lot of investment in vertical farming industry, whether it's Google, Amazon, or IKEA, that integrated this solution in their own business. Looking at what vertical farming field is doing, we can go to the next slide, as we have developed a vertical farm inside a container. It's either a 20 or 40 feet containers managed by an IoT system that basically optimize the condition inside the container for the plants. We are growing the plants nearby a supermarket on top of a roof of a restaurant, and shorten all the shortcuts, all of the supply chain, in terms of you don't need to move from a farmer to a distributor to a middleman supermarket. You bring the growing of the agriculture all the way to the retailers and provide the consumer to enjoy healthier and safer food. By the way, we are able to grow the produce in a way we're not using pesticides at all. So it's a pesticide-free produce. It's fresh and healthier. And we shorten also the time between harvest and consumption. It's a well-known fact that as long as you have more time between harvest and consumption, the quality, level of vitamins and nutrition of the plants go down. And here you have something that you consume right after harvest. Another maybe advantage in our farm versus the other competitors is that we're using a special growing platform based on soil versus most of the other players that are doing either hydroponics or aeroponics system. The soil-based platform provide access to easy to use platform. In our eyes, anyone can manage this farm. You don't have to be agronomists or farmers to manage this farm in a way that it facilitates the monitoring and management of the farms to the supermarket operation team. And basically that's allowed them to have a long arm, a constant supply of produce in terms of price and quality. And for sure, it's not depends on any weather condition which affect the quality and the prices of produce. If we can move to the next slide, we can see that during the entire food chain, in different countries, it takes different times to bring produce to the shelf. In the US, for example, in New York, where we are working, it takes 7 to 10 days to bring fresh lettuce from California all the way to the shelf of the supermarket in New York. And basically the quality of the crop is not as equal, of course, to the way that you grow it in the supermarket itself. It provides, of course, also completely different shopping experience to the consumer of the supermarkets. If we can go to the next slide. So in terms of the economic models, we are providing higher yields comparing to the traditional agriculture, better quality, of course, constant supply in terms, again, of quality and yield and prices. And at the end of the day, is cheaper than the comparable lettuce or the comparable herbs in terms of the price on the shelves. And again, that's also making this experience accessible to any type of consumer at the end of the day when it comes into the supermarket. The container can stand as an independent unit. It can be a farm of containers all together. All depends on the scalability and the scope of the supermarket and the customers. If we can go another slide. Right, so I'm going to present here basically 2 pilots that we're having right now. One is in Israel with the second largest retailer chain, where we position our farm in some of the stores, selling the produce to the supermarket consumers, bringing them to the fresh and healthy produce. And basically in, I would say, few days, we were able to capture a higher percentage of the total sales of the supermarket itself. We have to bear in mind that the capacity of container can change. You can combine different types of crops. You can adjust the growing cycle based on the supermarket consumption, when you can have a lower or higher types of volume, different types of variety of crops as you go along. In that way, you lower the waste of the food significantly. If we talk about produce, there are roughly numbers of 60 to 70% waste of food all the way from the farmers to the consumer. And here basically we reduce it to something between 5 to 10% waste, which is for sure significantly in terms of resources and in terms of effective supply chain. And the next slide, and maybe basically the last one, give us another pilot that we're doing in New York with another supermarket chain. Different climate, different crops, different challenges, of course, but at the end of the day, the consumer enjoy the fresh, healthy produce. Some of them enjoy produce that are not accessible due to the weather condition, and here you can grow, I would say, wide variety of crops in the same place. Some of them that were not able to grow otherwise. So all in all, this pilot as well in different climate and different condition is having these first steps in the US. Thank you very much for the time. It was a pleasure presenting to you Vertical Field.
Thank you. You stick to the time. Thank you. So we move to the Q&A session. So feel free to post your questions either on the Q&A or in the chat here in Zoom. So for kitchen robotics, we have one question: how long it takes the cooking time while using convention utensils?
Well, I try to reply for that. Specifically, there's no difference between using the conventional utensils and our utensils. The main because basically it's the same process. We are not some kind of a microwave. We are trying to reach the same flavor, the same taste, the same process of preparing the dish. The real benefit comes in our option to actually parallelize the process and create and use the same site and hardware to prepare all the dishes in parallel. We can use several places in parallel, somewhere between 4 and 12. And another thing that's important comparing to conventional methods is that the issue of consistency sometimes is even more important for our clients rather than the actual operational cost, because there are various complaints where restaurateurs that when they serve the same dish but the taste is different, then they actually losing loyal customers, and they pay a lot of attention and making a lot of efforts to make the dishes consistent. I hope I answered the question.
We have another question that you replied online. I will read it for the audience. Would Kitchen Robotics also be willing to develop products with corporate customers to tackle issues with efficiencies in food service and quick service restaurants?
Well, basically, we are capable of doing so. If we are talking here about a software solution, then maybe it's important to note that we have developed the software solution in parallel to the hardware solution. So the software solution that has all kind of services and upsides, such as deep learning and supply management and order management and external integrations, is separated from the hardware. It is capable of working with the hardware, but also capable of working standalone. So it could provide a solution for some of the corporate clients.
Okay. We have one sec. We have another question here. For everyone, how your solutions can help managing the crisis of COVID-19? Gil?
Yeah, so I can start by this. I kind of touched it in my pitch with social distancing, allowing different processes to be done with minimal or without physical interaction is something which is extremely important during this period. And our solution allows exactly that for both the processes between stores to vendors as well as consumers to the stores. One of the things that we've noticed is that in this period, when you start ordering online from the large retailers, in some cases, the delivery time became, instead of 1 day, they've moved to be 7 days or 10 days. So as a consumer, you were left with no real choice but to actually go physically to the stores. On the same time, if you would go to the neighborhood stores, you would be able to find most of what you would like to have. And so by providing this neighborhood store with digital abilities, we can allow you to actually work with those stores without the need of physically visiting the store itself.
Guy?
Yeah, I want to...
That was Danny.
Did I respond to that as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we see more and more potential clients and existing clients that are cautious about the quality of the food. So they want to know the real condition in which it was shipped. In many cases today, people, as Gil mentioned, they don't go to the stores, to the groceries, to the retail, to the supermarkets and being shipped to them. So how do they know it's fresh? So our sensor indicates the real condition in which the specific goods were shipped. And again, the globe now is really worried about waste. I mean, waste reduction was always on the agenda, but now more than ever, with the amount of the crisis in the economy and transportation and international business, waste is becoming even more of an issue. By using our sensor, you can reduce waste dramatically.
Okay, Guy, you were about to say something before?
Yeah, just to address this issue in two points. One, what we have experienced that During the coronavirus, the food chain was frozen in many, many ways. There were problem of bringing farmers into the farm to grow and harvest, and the airplanes and all the transportation was blocked in a way. And the fact that you can grow your own food nearby supermarkets and secure the growing of the food is definitely an advantage in time like Corona. And so that's one item. And the second is the fact that you can grow your food in a sterilized way with less human touch, provide more, I would say, safe and clean food. So that's two points regarding Corona times like this.
Good. Ofer, you have a...
Well, with regards to kitchen robotics, we have started our solution with a focus that if we solve the issue for dark kitchens, then the solution will be suitable for other industries just as well. Now, what we are seeing around Europe and actually around the entire world right now is that almost every dining solution is trying to make a shift toward being a dark kitchen, also called ghost kitchen right now. Restaurants are limiting or closing their own premises and looking for ways to shift their business models to delivery-based business models, off-premises, takeaways or deliveries. And this is where we come in handy, not only by our hardware solution, but obviously with using our software solutions as well.
Okay. So there's a question for Evidence. It was here and it disappeared. 1 second.
I already answered the
responded there. Okay.
question was, what range of temperature does the sensor work in? Is it inside, outside the box? So it practically, the sensor is reflects temperature of minus 20, 18 to plus 10, 12. It's all this range of temperatures in the cold chain. So it provides the full spectrum of what you need to have in the cold chain. Inside the box, outside the box, it just provides the real temperature condition.
Okay, good. Guy, there's a question for you. You want to respond this one. How much it costs for a retailer to implement vertical farming in their stores?
Right, so there are different, I would say, operational model. It can be a one-time investment or the model that it's part of their operational cost. And it's highly dependent on the numbers of units and the scope of the work. The range is very wide, but the model that we're working with is being part of the operational cost of the supermarkets in a way that it doesn't create any significantly change in their current operational cost.
Okay. There's global questions. I think you already answered, Guy. In terms of cost, what are they for each of the solutions or offer? It looks very expensive.
Actually, well, obviously it's not cheap, but actually it's much cheaper than actually starting your own restaurant operation from scratch. We are operating on a monthly subscription basis. The cost starts with $5,000 per month for a license, and obviously $5,000 per month is dramatically lower from the actual fixed cost it takes to open your own restaurant. And basically the advantage not only of our solution but of dark kitchens in general, that it enables you to test the waters, check how your surrounding, the ecosystem responds to your menu, how the audience respond to the actual brand you decided to start with. And it gives, so basically not only there are upsides in operational cost, but also in the actual pricing.
This is my question. Do you plan to offer like any rental models as well, or is just a monthly lease, a monthly use?
Define a rental model where we operate it and somebody rents our space. We plan, but not as at this phase. We will probably do it via a collaboration with ghost kitchen operators, the large ones. So our solution will be in their space, and somebody will be able to rent our solution in their space.
Okay. We have the same question for Gil and Danny. So,
yeah.
You want to go
of course, one of the first things I indicated when I started my presentation is, other than it's small and visual, it's a cheap solution. It's volume dependent, but it would be from, I would say, 5 US cents to 10 US cents, depending on the size of the sensing device, the graphics, or whatever you want to embed into the device. So it's very, very cheap. And we have shown in the last 2 years substantial savings in the supply chain due to the awareness of this sensor on the package level.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are different business models that we are working with. If you look at the store, it might be free, or it might be a very minimal monthly charge. The main one who is paying for our services is the vendor or the vendors. Those are the ones who are paying, and it's a small portion of the actual value of the merchandise that is going throughout our platform, and that the stores are ordering from the vendors. And if you look at the consumer parts of, obviously the consumer is not paying anything, and here the store might be paying, once again, a very minimal charge, maybe, you know, less than €1 per order, and that's about it.
Okay, very good. A question for the audience. Final questions. We have like 8 more minutes. Okay, a few questions were already provided. If anyone wants to have a direct contact with any of the solutions, as I said before, feel free to email us at info@eatablleadventure.com. We will be super happy to make the connection. Sahar, Liat, you want to make any final remarks?
Oh, thank you very much for listening, and I hope this is the beginning of continued collaboration. And in general, if anybody wants some help with connections between the 2 countries, we're available. Thank you very much.
So I think this is a very good representation of the innovation level that you can find out in the food tech arena in Israel. I think it's a privilege to have you here, guys, and definitively we look forward to continue this type of collaborations. Thanks everyone, thanks to the audience, and we will be here again next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.